Let me get a drink real fast. Ugh. I get manic about yarn. Crazy. It's Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to the 6th episode of the Love in Stitches podcast. It is Wednesday, February 13th. So if you're watching it on the day this podcast comes out, happy Valentine's Day. Just want to say that it's Valentine's Day, which can be not fun for some people. And if it's a not fun day of the year for you, forget it and go do something nice for yourself, because nobody deserves to feel sad because it's a holiday. That's just not okay. You should not let the holiday tell you how to feel. But I have something fun that's gonna go up on my Instagram feed on Thursday, February 14th. So if you're watching this in the morning, it might be later in the afternoon, but look for it. I've got a pattern dropping and something fun on my feed that I'm doing. But yeah, so it is, February. It's kind of gross outside. It's very cloudy. I'm getting some light. It's about, 4:45. We got off early today, so I got to get home a little bit early. And I just finished recording a tutorial video for an upcoming scarf pattern. And so I'm feeling like a little bit crazy. So if I start talking really fast in like a manic kind of way, it's because I've been talking, my brain has been going. Work was pretty crazy today. And also I did like a blog post, and I've done a lot. My brain has been working very hard. But this is something that all these things are things that I enjoy doing. And this is one of my favorite things. So let's get started. I want to talk about a couple things on the Ravelry group, and then we'll get started with some knitting. I have so much knitting to talk about today. Okay, so if you would like to join us on the Ravelry group, it's called Love in Stitches. And there is a thread in there where you can tell us a fun fact about yourself. So I'm gonna read some fun facts. Okay, I think it's Care Bear. She says that she has 2 cats that love to help her with knitting, which I think is so funny. You know, you can hear him. Toaster. Well, wherever he is, he's walking around. I have a dog, and sometimes he likes to get my knitting too. He's more interested in the balls of yarn, like if they're wound in a ball, whatever. Let's see. CB Crafty Girl says that she teaches piano at a local college, and she always has her knitting with her in case a student doesn't show up for a lesson. And she also plays the organ for various churches, and she sometimes knits during the service. Go girl. I also was a knitter at church until my husband didn't like it very much. So out of respect for him, I stopped knitting at church. But I support it. I wouldn't knit at the service, but during my like small groups and stuff, I knit and no one had a problem with it. They all asked me what I was knitting. I made sure I was engaged and paying attention. So if you are, if you can knit at church and people are not bothered or distracted by it, I think it's okay. Also, she plays the organ, piano, organ, I don't know. I am not musical. My mom is a master of the piano and she decided not to teach me. I don't know why. Last one. This is from Diane14. She says, as she plays on Ravelry this morning when she wrote that, she's drinking coffee in the Dallas Stars mug that she received from me in a giveaway. So cool. Last July. It was the very first Instagram giveaway she entered, and of course she hasn't won anything since. That's so funny. I sometimes will enter giveaways. I probably get tagged in a giveaway almost every day, but I only sometimes enter them if I really, really want it. And I'm so happy for Diane that she won a giveaway. That's exciting. Okay, so if you want to go over, join our Ravelry group. It's Love in Stitches. Everyone is welcome. We are growing in numbers, and right now there's just some episode notes and fun things to talk about, and hopefully in the next maybe few months I have some plans in the summer for a knit along and something fun. Okay, let's talk about yarn. So I am wearing today my Texture Time by Stephen West. I can't remember if I've showed it on the podcast before, but it is amazing. It was the mystery knit along this past October. I'm totally gonna do the next one. It was so much fun. I learned so many things. I think I have talked about it, but it's got syncopated brioche, it's got mohair, it's got Latvian braids, it's got garter stitch, it's got these insane yarn overs. It's just so much fun. It's huge, but it's really wearable. I mean, when I have it on like that, it doesn't seem as big as it actually is. Look at this though. I've been needing to fix that for a long time. I just haven't done anything, but it's really big. Its wingspan is huge, but super big. Texture Time by Stephen West. And I'm gonna take it off for now because I have some other shawls and scarves and things that I wanna show you. So my first finished object has been one, or I finished it last week, but I had to keep it a secret for a little while. So this is a shawl that I test knit for Jen of Webster Street Knittery, and she designed it for Stitches West, which is coming up super soon. And the pattern is actually not available yet at all, but it will only be available for those who attend Stitches West for a few weeks. I believe if you go on the pattern page for this pattern, which I'm about to show you, it will tell you all the details, like when you can get it if you're not going to Stitches West, and when you can get it if you are going to Stitches West, etc. So let me show you the shawl. It is so beautiful. It was a lot of fun to knit. Okay, so here it is. And I'll just I've already worn it one time, but I kind of wrap it up like this, no, like that. But it is a garter stitch and lace and baubles, and it was just so much fun to knit. So I need to go grab my yarn tags and then I'll be right back and I can show you what yarn I used. So I'm starting this thing where when I start a project, I take off the tags and I put it in here. And then if I have extra yarn, I put it in here. That's just to keep the tags nice. So like when I go add the project to Ravelry, I can actually see them, but I wouldn't say it's a habit yet, but maybe I can make it one. Okay, so the yarns I used for this shawl are Hue Loco, which you've probably seen her label before, and the colorway is called Saltwater. So the saltwater color is this speckled one. I'm gonna take it back off so you can actually see it. But I got this color when I was on vacation. I think we had gone to Disneyland in Anaheim, and then we went to some beach. I'm not really sure. We were somewhere at a beach. And so when I saw this colorway in one of the shops, the local shops, I thought that would be so fun. So that is called Saltwater, that speckled color there. And you can see that it's got blue in it. So I decided to pair it with this blue, which is from Anzula Fibers. I would not buy this yarn again. I don't even remember where I got it. But when I was winding it, I wound it by hand. I'm really glad I did, because as I wound it by hand, I could feel the yarn. The yarn was going through my hands. It's a very soft yarn. It feels really good, but there were so many, not even knots in it, like places where one of the plies had like kinked up. A lot of times you'll find that one ply will kink up because it's actually been cut, but that wasn't even the case. It was super weird. I had to cut the yarn in a lot of places, and I really did not enjoy that. I don't even know what this yarn is called because look, Unknown Blend. What? Where did I even get this from? I have no idea. But, it is called Anzula Squishy. So I think that if you bought one that was like correct, because clearly this one, they have silk ? On it. What? I don't even know. I've had other Anzula yarns and they were fine. So I'm not discounting the whole brand. It's just this particular ball, all of its mysteries, not too into it. But it did turn out beautiful anyway. So again, this is, I didn't tell you what it was called. Wow. This is called Cowl, the shawl, and that's Cowl with a K. Apparently, in San Francisco, where Stitches West is taking place, there is a lot of fog, and the fog is so infamous that it's named Cowl with a K, and so Cowl the shawl it is. But yeah, you can see it's just so beautiful. It starts down here at the skinny end, and then you go along this way. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to knit, and I am so happy with it. And you can get it hopefully very, very soon. After Stitches is over, it will be available on Webster Street Knittery's Ravelry page. So that's one finished object. The other one is one of my own designs. Let me see, it's gotten buried. Okay, so I showed a swatch for this 3 episodes ago, possibly, when I was just starting to work on it. So this scarf, and it's done now. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I showed it last week, I was working on it. So this scarf is something that I was inspired by when Ashley, who's AK Knits on Instagram, posted a picture of her mom's scarf. And her mom got this scarf in Italy. It was just, it looked very like, it looked similar to this. I really did try to get it as close as possible, but it had basically these rows of like a chunkier yarn with this very thin mohair looking yarn, and it just had the coolest fabric. Let me see if I can, it's a loop, so I'm trying to get that out of the way. There you go, you can see how you can just see through it. Man, this thing squishes and drapes. I haven't blocked it yet, so I think I'm just gonna give it a wash and a flat dry. I don't want it to stretch too much, but it is so nice. It's that good double layer looking kind of thing. It is so fun, and it's super easy. It's not brioche, it's very easy to do. Also, I just recorded a tutorial for this part right here, which is a technique that I like to use that I call bind off and seam. I'm not really sure if, like, I don't think it's my own idea by any means, but it's something that I do whenever I create a flat piece that needs to be joined, and it just creates this really beautiful selvage, and you're basically seaming it as you're binding it off. It's really, it's not hard to do, and it's, you know, kind of eliminates that step of seaming. But I just finished doing it, so I haven't even woven in the ends. So let me put it on for you. So there's gonna be a couple different versions of this scarf, and it is not named yet. I sent it out to testers on Tuesday. They are working on it, and they're working on it in some different yarns, which is gonna be fun. So this is gonna be the original version. It's a 50-inch infinity scarf, so you can double loop it around. Oh my God, I love it so much. I haven't actually put it on yet. Like I said, I just finished it. So double loop infinity scarf. There's also going to be a single loop, which will be a bit wider than this one, so that you can have it like open and it'll be good as a single loop. And then there's 2 other versions in there that's just a variation of this, playing with the mohair and the other yarn that I have testers working on. I want to make sure it looks good before I talk about those. But I think it will. I'm not too worried about it. So the yarns that I'm using for this, I actually don't have in my little basket of labels because I put them in with the balls. Oh, here they are. Okay, so what I used to do before I started that habit like last week is I would put the labels of my yarn into these socks from Buffy Ann Designs. I get asked about these pretty often. They're Buffy Ann Designs. I think you can order them online directly from her. But the first yarn that I use, I'm just gonna take it out because I'm done and I'm gonna wind it up. But I would say still like a decent amount of 1 skein left. This scarf uses only 1 skein of worsted weight single ply and way less than 1 skein of mohair, kid silk, you know, silk mohair. This is a hand dyed skein, so it's a little bit bigger. It's 50 grams. If you buy a commercial skein, it's going to be about 25 grams. You're still only going to need the 1 skein, which is awesome. I've got 2 of these, so I can make a whole nother one of these. I thought I was going to need way more yarn than that. So the worsted weight, I'm suggesting single ply worsted weight just to get that optimum loftiness, but you don't have to. Some of my testers are using different yarns and it's still looking really good. So I'm excited to have those as examples, but samples? I don't know. I use Malabrigo worsted, which is really a pretty thick worsted. It's like a thick, thin kind of single ply thing. It is amazing. Like I knew it was a cool yarn and then I knit with it. Oh my gosh. And the color is Pink Frost. And then I'm not gonna undo the mohair like that because I still have so much of it I'm probably gonna use for something else. But this is Primrose yarn Plume, which is the kid silk. I keep saying kid silk. I think it's just a silk mohair, and it is in the colorway, I forgot, because I don't know what it is. I need to get the tag out of here and look at it. I might look at it and put it on the bottom of the screen for you, maybe. But yeah, so I know that the end of winter is approaching quickly. So this scarf is gonna come out pretty soon. It will be out on March 1st. And again, there's a couple different versions. It's not named. It's not named. So if I don't come up with a name soon, I'll put it on Instagram. You can help me name it. But yeah, look at it. It's so fluffy. I might actually wear it this evening because I just really like this color. But yeah, I'm excited about that. So that's another almost finished object once I get those ends woven in. Okay, this is not a finished object. I mean, it is finished, but it's not a recent one. But I forgot to talk about this in the beginning. I have a sock pattern that's coming out today, February 14th. So this is the Baubles and Bezoars socks. It's got texture, it's got baubles, and this is the Valentine's colorway that Malia of Malia Made It came up with, called Romilda Vane's Box of Chocolates. Now, I'm not gonna talk any more about these except to say, look at my Instagram for something special on Thursday the 14th. And if you're in my Ravelry group, go there and look for more information on these socks. Also, I just did a blog post on the inspiration behind the color, the design process, and the name of the pattern, Baubles and Bezoars. So if you want to find out more, I will leave all those links below that you can go to and find out more about my newest pattern. Oh, and my sock patterns are $4 because I don't include heel instructions. I tell you like where to start. I suggest the Fish Lips Kiss heel or an afterthought heel, but because I'm not actually including heel instructions, I feel like $5 is not a fair charge, so I charge you $4, and then you can go buy the Fish Lips Kiss heel patterns for $1 if that's your heel of choice, or sub in your own. But there you go. Okay, now that I've talked about those, let's talk about new cast-ons, because I have cast on 2 new things, and I haven't worked on my sweater. Don't even ask me about my Canyon cardigan. I haven't worked on it. Oh, I have worked on my socks. Let me show you those before I show you my new cast-ons. So I've barely worked on my rainbow socks for, I'm knitting these like as my February socks, but also for Suburban Stitchers Rainbow Along and This Girl Knits Love Equality cowl. I'm tangled. Here we go. So last week, I think I'd showed you that I'd put in an afterthought waist yarn for the afterthought heel, and this is all I've knit, which doesn't look impressive until I tell you that this is how much I've knit on my way to and from work the last 3 days. And I was driving. Okay, before you get concerned, this will tell you that I sit at a lot of red lights and a lot of trains. But this, what is that, like 2 inches? I don't know. I've knit a lot for the time that I've spent on it. This is what keeps me sane on my drive home when I'm sitting in traffic for like 20 minutes. It's horrible. But yeah, I promise I'm only knitting at red lights and trains, promise. So I've barely put any work on these, but I'm sure they will get more work as the month goes on, because I want to get them finished in February. And the yarn, oh my gosh, was it in my thing? Let's see. I bet it is. Or not. Oh yes, it's right here. Okay. This is Knitterly Things Vesper sock yarn, and it is in one of her club colorways called Golden Hour Harvest in November of 2017. So it's knitting up super, super fun. Thank you. There was a lot of people last week when I said I want pink in my rainbows. They said, why don't you knit the heel in pink? Duh. So I might knit the heel in pink if I can find a pink that will go with these colors. Thank you for this suggestion. That was a good one. Okay, new cast-ons. So since I finished that shawl, I was ready for the next test knit with Webster Street Knittery. She's the designer of Carl the shawl that I just showed, and she has another pattern coming out soon, I think in time for Stitches West. Yeah, because I have to have this finished in less than a week from today. And this is called the Truffula Tuft cowl, or maybe it's just truffle tuft. But look at this, look at my color. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me sit back down on my actual bum instead of on my legs because I was so excited. Okay, so this yarn I got when I was in New Orleans just a little while ago, and both of these are primrose yarns. So let me show you a little closer. Now you can see that there's mohair in there. So one of these is a sport weight 3-ply, and the other is the mohair plume yarn from Primrose, and both of them are in the color Mischief Managed, which is just the most fun. And let me show you Primrose, because I didn't get to show you before. Here's Primrose label, and the colorway is called Mischief Managed, and it looks like the name of that 3-ply is Rose, and then the name of the oh, it is Kid Mohair and Silk is Plume. So Mischief Managed is a Harry Potter reference, and I think this purple, it reminds me of the Night Bus. I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Okay, so Jen's pattern is for a cowl or like a double loop wrap, and I will just tell you right now that the yarn that I picked this yarn when I was in New Orleans for this pattern because Jen was teasing it and I was hoping I would get to test knit it for her. And I completely did not choose the yarns that she has suggested for the pattern. So I'm telling you that because if you go look at hers, it looks better. It does, because she's used a single ply fingering weight yarn with the mohair, and it just has that element of fluff that is amazing. Now, I still like this, but I just don't want you to see, like, this looks so different from what she has. Hers is like, you can see right through it. It just looks like fluff, kind of like this. How this is a single ply. I mean, I don't know if you can tell just when I pick it up, but having that single ply with the mohair just gives it that element of fluff that can't be beat. So while I did not use a single ply or a fingering weight, because somehow I bought a sport weight yarn without reading the label and I thought it was fingering, even though I totally goofed up, I still love how it's coming out. It's very, very easy to knit. This here is gonna come out when I connect it, but yes, I'm loving it so far. I'm gonna have it done for next week's podcast and I can't wait to wear it. It's still got fluff on it. Y'all read the pattern and use the suggested yarn. What was I thinking? Anyway, I've got it in my Harry Potter bag by the bay. I love it. Okay, so that was one new cast on. I had a really great Friday night where I cast on 2 new projects. The other one is actually crochet, you guys. I do crochet. I've said it and I have yet to prove it, but I do crochet. So I've got my crochet project. It's a blanket in a big bag. This bag I got for Christmas. What's funny about it is that I actually told my mom that I wanted it over a year ago. It's one of these huge sweater buckets from Anne of Little Skein and the Big Wool. And I told her that I wanted it, and I knew it was gonna be hard for, you know, it's hard for muggles to purchase yarny things. It's hard for them to go on Etsy and go on people's websites and shop updates because they're not used to that, and we're trained for it, right? We know to set our alarms at 8:55 a.m. so that we can catch Simply Serving Stitch Marker update. We know how to do those things. So what I did for my mom, because I'm just so nice, is about, I think it was like February of last year, I said, Mom, I want this for Christmas. I'm gonna sign myself up for notifications, email notifications to know when it's back in stock from Little Skein Anne. And as soon as I got it, I said, Mom, it's available. She goes, I'm on it. And she went and she purchased it, and she held onto this thing for like 10 months to give it to me for Christmas. It was so worth it. So these bags are huge. They're like buckets. They have this drawstring at the top, but it's really good for my blanket. So what I am making, see, I've got like 9 skeins of worsted in there. I am making a blanket that is part of Bee Hooked Crochet, who's Brittany. She designs a blanket every year for Warm Up America. And Warm Up America is a charity that's headquartered very close to where I live in Texas, but they partner with different organizations to send them not just blankets, but all kinds of things. So go check out Warm Up America if you are interested in some charity knitting or crochet and see what things they need. But Brittany designs a blanket every year. Last year, was the first year I participated, and basically you make a lap size blanket. You have about 4 or 5 weeks to complete it, so a lap size. And the one I made last year was so much fun. I'll see if I can find a picture of it. But it was just, I learned so much. I learned crochet bobble stitches. I learned how to do all these techniques by watching her video, and it was so much fun. I knew I was ready to do it again this year. So let me show you. Let me get a drink real fast. Ugh. I get manic about yarn. Crazy. Okay, so this year, I can't remember the exact charity off the top of my head, but I know it's a veterans charity. So the colors that we are using, usually she doesn't, or at least last year she didn't set a color requirement, and she does not require it this year, but she suggests that you use red, white, and blue. So I've got red, white, and blue. Now before I settled on red, white, and blue, I asked my brother, who is a Marine veteran and only 25, right? So he's pretty cool. No, yeah, 25. He's pretty cool. So I asked him, I showed him a picture of the blanket. I screenshot it from Brittany's Instagram. I said, would you like a red, white, and blue blanket, or would you feel that that's like too cliche, too patriotic, and you'd rather have like a suggestion of it, blue, gray, and white, or red, gray, and white, or something? And he said, no, I think that red, white, and blue is perfect. I think it looks good. And so I went with red, white, and blue. I am using one of the suggested yarns, which is Vanna's Choice by Lion Brand. And I've got cranberry, I've got white, and I've got, I think, colonial blue, right? That's always colonial blue. The other suggested yarn was Red Heart Super Saver, which I just don't have a thing against acrylic. This is 100% acrylic. But for some reason, me and that yarn, or me and my hooks in that yarn, the Super Saver, they don't get along, and it just doesn't feel comfortable or enjoyable for me. But the Vanna's Choice is just fine. I've made tons of baby blankets out of this Vanna's Choice, so I am totally okay working with it. So let me show you. I've barely gotten started. This was just Friday night's work. But I'll have to put a picture of the pattern in here too, because the blanket is to die for. It is the coolest. Let me just show you. So you just kind of start out, this is a free pattern, of course, if you're going to make the charity blanket, and you just start out with some half double crochet, and then you get into the craziest thing I've ever done in crochet. Look at this. Look, it's like you start by wrapping the yarn around your needle like a bazillion times. Look how long those stitches are. And when I showed my husband this, he goes, whoa, that's cool. And I said, it is cool. It is so cool. So I can't wait to work on this more over this weekend. But it is just a lot of fun. So basically I'm going to have white and red and white and red, and you're just going to see these really sweet looking X's and stuff. It's so much fun. When I started it on Friday, I thought I was just going to do the half double crochet part because I knew how to do that. And I was starting to get tired around, let's be honest, like 10 p.m. And I thought, I'll just watch the video. I'll just see what comes next. And then of course I was totally hooked, and I had to do a few rows of this pattern. It was really fun. Okay, so that was 2 new projects that I'm just super excited to work on. I'm very much looking forward to the 3-day weekend that we have this weekend so that I can work on both of those. Well, I think that's it, guys. Lots of knitting and crochet this week. Maybe I'll get back to my ignored projects soon. We'll see. It was so great talking with you guys. Have a great one. Bye.